Hey everybody, good evening, good afternoon, whatever. Hey Goose, long time no talk. Don, Valerie, Mark, Ray, Valerie, again, Dex, Jason, Tara, Merle, Michael, Sergio, Bennett, Brooks, Mary, Nikki, Emuku, Val DeSalvo, Deb K, back to have you again. Back to have you again. Good to have you back again. There we go. Get the strike that, reverse it there. Wrongover, hey buddy, have fun working in cars all day. And here we go. Beautiful. Knoxville, Tennessee, right there. We got the Basketball Hall of Fame just poking up right by the old Hyatt, now the Marriott. And hey, Gary, we got the beautiful riverfront view down there. Nice power lines and old train bridges. Yeah. Anyway, glad to have everybody. So, we've got NVIDIA earnings just came out. Got U.S. Thanksgiving coming up. Not a whole lot tomorrow, probably. I guess reactions to NVIDIA and big catalyst. Then we got some news on Friday, but Friday's a half day. And then that's the end of the week. I mean, but before we get there, I'll do 30 minutes of your requests. So hold off on that. We will cover that in a minute. It'll be one request per person when we get there. Just hold on. Let me cover a general broad market update before you throw a ton of requests at me, and we'll hit it in just a few minutes. So, all right, let's jump on through. And NVIDIA. There's the 1 second chart right there. Look at this craziness. We went up like crazy. I was actually talking to Goose when it popped, went up about 10 points, and then dropped like 40 points, and then kind of stabilizing right here, down from the close, 6 points ish. I mean, not a big deal. About 1%, 5, 6 points. So, yeah, about 1% off, which is not much since they were pricing in a 6 to 7% move in the options. We got a little volatility, but now it's kind of settling down. So, yeah, this is the what do they call it, the Knoxville Queen, I think, or maybe it's the Knoxville Star. I don't know. They've changed it out a couple times. It's flying the UT flag there. Heck yeah. I don't watch sports ball. I did graduate from UT. And all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. I may never get it right again. If this presentation here is intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining, it is not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument. If you desire personal financial advice, you got to hire and consult a financial advisor, which is not me. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't play one on YouTube. I don't play one in Discord. I don't play one at all. I don't try to be one. I don't try to pretend like I give financial advice. So, all right. Elpo 10, chill out a second. We'll get to requests in just a few minutes. So there's NVIDIA. The lackluster results there. And like I said, U.S. Thanksgiving come out on Thursday. Market's closed. Friday, half day, closing early. So we've got futures market rolling till 5 p.m. tomorrow. It'll shut down, won't reopen, stay closed until 6 p.m. on Thursday. Reopen on 6 p.m. Thursday, stay open till 1 p.m. on Friday, and everything shuts down for the weekend right there. So, be prepared, as they say in the Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout. So, all right. Let's go through a few things. S5FI is one of my favorite indicators right here. We're hovering right around 70. 80 is the magic reversal point. If we pop this to 80, watch out. We're probably going to drop back near the 20 zone. So it would be more fantastic if we just kind of came down back to the 50 area and then slowly ramp back up to this just below 80 and just kind of hung out there, similar to what we did back here in 2020. And we did pop way up, came down, and then just kind of hovered. I don't really want to see this extreme. I just want to see it come up and just hover and kind of hang out there. Not a big fan of these because once we do this, we're likely to do this, and then that. It just extreme moves. So, and then we got a little overexcited, and then we had to come down to the bottom. So, anytime we get up out of the top, we're likely to go down out of the bottom. Anytime we go down out of the bottom, we're likely to come up out of the top. So it's likely we hit 80 at some point before we come back to 20. We can just retrace back to the middle though. This is stocks above the 50-day moving average. If you've never seen this, S5FI, this exists. You have NDA 5FI and R whatever it is, F5. I can't remember the Russell one. It's right down here somewhere. One of these things is not like, there it is, R2FI. R2FI, NDFI. So Nasdaq, even though there's 100 stocks, Nasdaq 100 stocks above the 50-day moving average, somehow it has 73.26. Beyond me. If you have 100 stocks, how you have a 0.26, but hey, new math, I guess. And then Russell 2000 hanging out at 57, right in the middle there. And it did not break above 80 though in the last, like, went below 20, came up shy, went below 20. So this one's due for a pop back above 80 because we didn't get above 80 right there. Did a double bottom situation. Now, the question is though, did this lead? Is this leading the S&P? And we see this. Is this what happens on the S&P? And then we go down here. I don't know. Could also be Nasdaq. Do we come up short and drop out again? I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Now, S&P 500, little baby pullback today, down 9. Not really a big deal. Still the possibility we go down bigger. NVDA looked like it was going to burn it down, and then, of course, magically, NVIDIA just kind of held in there. Came back off the lows. Like I said, it was like a 40-point drop, and then almost got the all clear. And just we are drifting down a little bit though. It's chugging down here, so we could see this drift on. Yeah, nothing set in stone till the morning. So, happy Thanksgiving, George. Hey, Kimberly's here. Everybody behave. The boss is here. So there you go. Now, popping through the rest of futures, kind of hitting the highlights here. We usually touch on ES, which is just kind of being lackluster today. A little bit of pullback, but just sitting there. We could experience a bigger pullback to the roadmap line or a 618 retrace, which is basically the roadmap line. So a couple different potential paths forward there, but almost all of them result in somewhat of a pullback. And we have this bearish potential setup still sitting here until we get higher than this high back here that we had in July. Now, the interesting thing is that on Nasdaq, we made a higher high than we had in July. Get a little pullback today, but this one has invalidated the immediate bearish setup, at least for this being a 1-2 setup, an impulsive move down setup. Could still be a corrective, and we could still get a lower low, but it's likely that this goes higher after whatever correction this finishes up here. So Russell, on the other hand, is nowhere near the highs that we had back here in July. It's still farting around down here under the roadmap line, which is not bullish at all. And we may see this bigger decline here. Just have to move this over. I kind of speculated it would happen quickly. Of course, nothing ever happens quickly. We may see it decline further down to this 50 to 618 retrace. That's 50% or 61.8% retrace. If we come down there, hold support in that zone, and turn up, that can be bullish. If we come up somewhat short, retrace hard, make a lower high than we had right here, watch out. This could lead to a bigger down, significantly bigger down into this 1586 area on Russell. And that could suck some of the rest of the market down with it. Could see another banking crisis. I don't know what the news is going to be, but be careful. All right. Now, oil. Yeah, actually ended the day green. We were red this morning when I was talking about this, but we ended up slightly green. Still a lower high inside candle, basically. which is indecision, and we may not go anywhere before the end of the week. We may just kind of fart around here the rest of the week. We'll see what happens, but this looks like it could be the start of a bullish reversal, but we got to get back above that daily roadmap line. Otherwise, we still run the risk of extending on down to the 1272 extension. Excuse me, the 1618 extension down here at 67. We hit the 1272. All right, get tongue-tied. Brent, similar kind of path and situation, lower high, still in the downtrend. You know, CL does kind of have a downtrend cooking at this point. Lots of stuff on this chart, but let's just remove a few of these prior targets and stuff, kind of clean it up just a tad. So right here, downtrend of highs. We're just flirting with it right there. Just kind of flirting with it. And that high, that high, that high, that high. And possibly up to this high. Let's see. No, not quite. Doesn't quite connect up. Doesn't quite connect up. So we're just sitting right on that trend line. Do we break above or do we push down lower? That's the big question. I don't know. The market's going to tell us, but I do have a starter long position looking for the bigger recovery back up in this $100 area if we can get going. It's going to take a move up through 87 to really tip the scales to going up to 100. So it's got a lot of proving to do, about 10 points worth of proving to do before I'm really bullish. Otherwise, this could just do an intermediate rally, hit resistance at the 618, and then go lower. Brent, you know, like I said, similar path, not really much cooking. Gasoline futures, not really looking the same here. Honestly, this looks a little more bearish and looks like it may extend down to this $2 area. This is the wholesale prices futures on gasoline. We do have a downtrend, but it's kind of a little flatter, little more chill on this correction here. This is definitely a downtrend, and we may see it push on down into these lower areas around $2 before we reverse higher. Just because oil starts going higher doesn't mean gasoline's automatically going to go higher either. It does tend to fly kind of in the vicinity, you know, does tend to lag by about 2 weeks, but we can see gasoline decline further while oil starts ripping. Then heating oil, diesel fuel is already turning the bottom, about to break above the roadmap line. That's a higher low. That's a little baby, like measured bounce type setup right there. Went a little deep. We can see a move right up into this probably $3 area, possibly 305. Then I would expect it to retrace to the roadmap line, then make the bigger push and pull this down here to the lowest low. We do have resistance right there at that 618 level. That if we're going to go bullish, we're going to have to clear that around 325. If we do clear it, then odds are we're going up to 373, maybe even $4 a gallon on wholesale prices for diesel and heating oil. And not good for somebody on the live stream. A couple somebodies that I know drive diesel vehicles. NG, natural gas. Look at that. Everybody told me it was going to do a bullish breakout. I said, be careful. I think we might drop back to the bottom of the box. Looked like a fake breakout to me. So far, that's the way it's playing out. We may see this drop right back down to $2. Be careful. Don't think that natural gas has to go higher just because of the seasonal pattern. This can drop right back down to $2. Then GC. I'm just interested in the price patterns. You know, the news is the news, and we'll see what catalysts get attributed in the news. But gold has now done the bullish thing that I wanted to see. The final little confirmation is a move up through 2019, 2020. We're going to get 2040, 70% likely at this point. We're going to rally right up to 2040, and then maybe 40-50% likely we see something up to 2065 before we get the next retrace to the roadmap line. And we could just go full bull and go crazy higher way on up here I mean, the bigger bounce pattern could take us up into this 2120, possibly even 2200 area. But I would venture to guess that we're going to see some retraces before we go up that high. I mean, look, this thing has not been able to make progress without getting a substantial retrace. So I think if we get up to this 2065 area, we're probably going to see a retrace, at least retest the breakout point here at 2020 before we go even higher and break higher than what we saw back here in May. Silver, on the other hand, still looks like a piece of garbage. This chart just does not look awesome. That's potentially a little measured bounce, but it's not getting the follow through. It's not doing the super bullish thing. It actually stopped right at the 100%. Stopped right at that resistance, right at that downtrend line resistance. Just can't get out of its own way. And copper, finally doing something slightly bullish, but that's still a lower high until we can beat this zone right here. We just have yet another lower high. Pushing up through the roadmap line is an initial sign that maybe this thing could be done, but it's so overlapping and corrective. Like, just stay away from it until it's clear. If it would flush down and clear this up, we could go higher. But right now, it's just not clear. Not one bit. Not one bit. You know, everybody talks about manipulation in those markets, but the markets are so freaking big, they can't be manipulated like that. They can't. Like, the size of gold and silver is just so crazy big. When they get convicted of manipulating price, it's like over a short duration, and they're actually getting fractions of a fraction of an ounce, fractions of a penny of an ounce when they're manipulating the price. It's not manipulation of price on a big scale. So when you hear that narrative, it makes sense, because us humans love to latch onto stuff like that. But there's no possible way that they have the ability to, when central banks all of the world are buying hundreds of tons of gold and silver. There's just no way that a bank like JP Morgan would have enough clout to affect it. I mean, they're not moving enough gold and silver in volume to make a difference. So I know it's hard to decouple that story because it's so inherent and believable, but it really doesn't matter. All right, sugar still rocking it, probably hitting all-time highs here. Yeah, where does that go? Big term picture. I mean, we're sitting right at the 1272. We could pop it to 32.46. Golly, man. That's a 275 a pound or 277 a pound for sugar. That'd be 324 a pound, 325 a pound for sugar. That's true. Talk about something that's counter the GLP-1. I mean, that. Hey, Sledge, good to see you. For all the down on all the junk food, I mean, look, MCD, HSY. No, MCD was actually recovering. HSY, Yum, Yum. I mean, all these like getting beat down with the GLP-1 reactions, and then you look at the sugar futures, and it's like, what the heck? It's just kind of crazy. We actually popped out to the 1272, back to the 100. So the next move I anticipate is a move up to this 32 area on sugar. And cattle coming off the highs a little bit. Thank goodness. That that looks like it's due a big retrace, but I mean, it didn't do that retrace before, so this target totally invalid. Yeah, I got some little fuzz in my throat or something there. I mean, look at that run. One little pullback. Golly. Support all the way back down here where we consolidated right there. So could see cattle pull back quite a bit. Yeah, support back down around 140. That's right now that's like $1.75 per pound on the hoof, right there for cattle. Yeah, for real. Where was that run when raising cows, right? And pork though, look at that. Pork's only 79 cents a pound. Anyway, crazy stuff. And circling around to crypto, yeah, uninteresting day in Bitcoin, as far as I'm concerned. Just consolidating up near the top. We had a big dip and then we kind of recovered a little bit. Then it went green briefly and then went back to halfway down. Just consolidating. Nothing super interesting. Ethereum looks like it's going to get the deeper retrace before we go higher. Dogecoin. That's not a target. It actually made a higher high briefly, but then got rejected, probably coming back down to the roadmap line. And then if it does that, we could see where we go from there. And the big winner lately, this one this year. Look at this coin this year. Let's go to a weekly chart. Look at this thing this year. I think Bitcoin's a big winner. Look at this one. Went from 8 up here to 67. That's 692% gain this year. I'm still looking for higher prices. Haven't done anything yet, hardly. But 692% Solana, nice winner. I got in back down here around 25. Still riding it. Still expecting higher prices. That was one from the crypto power plays. So it's been a pretty nice little trade there. All right, time for requests, and I had one standing request before the show, and that was LMT. So let's hit that real quick. And my gosh, man, what the heck? Kind of a corrective 3-wave down. 1, 2, 3, right to the 1272. Beautiful. And a move up and nothing. It's just right in the consolidation. It's like nothing. And we got that resistance right above it. So I don't know. If this were to do a 1618, if this were to do a 618 retrace right back down into this zone right here, right around here, that would get me interested in chasing something the next time it popped through the roadmap line. But right now, there's no pattern there. Like I expect it to do this. Honestly, that's what I expect. So, sideways. All right, roll back up, kind of catch anything I missed. Race. Tell me, if you buy one share of Ferrari, can you tell everybody you own a Ferrari? Right up to the 1272 or 1618, excuse me. Right up to the 1618. The could go just a smidge higher, but likely to get a bigger retrace after this. Wherever this finishes up here, which can finish at any point, the risk is for a bigger retrace right down in this zone. This zone probably a little shallower there. Pull it down a little bit. That would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. And then you would expect this to do a bigger wave 2 retrace in a 3-wave fashion. Take longer, potentially. Could go fast, but fast is relative to how long it took to go up. This would be a bigger 1, 2. Then the 3 would go way on up there. I'm just going to click those right there. So this would be a... Don't see the button I need. Settings. Could be like that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we got to survive the retrace back down in this 240 area, potentially 240 to 270. So, alrighty. 30 minutes of awesome AMD. We are working on, that one's working on the 5 right now. Potentially, that 5 could be as high as 150. Maybe only get to 140. And it's just farting around right there at resistance, though. It's not breaking through. I really want to see this get up to 125 to kind of lock in that we're going to see a higher high, possibly 140, 150. I'm not sure I expect much more than 150. Anything greater than that, it's going to be gravy at this point before we get a bigger, deeper retrace. And that bigger, deeper retrace is probably going to look something like right back down here where we were at 90. Pop up to 150, back down 90. It's going to seem like everything's going to seem like it's sucking. So there's the potential. Alrighty, and I saw CCL somewhere in here. There it is, CCL, please. Carnival Cruise Line, Carnival Cruise Lines. Watch out for resistance right there at 1630. Could stop at 1525-ish, 1530-ish. Could stop here, could stop here. Could make it all the way up to here. That was kind of like one fast move down. Barely a subwave. Pop up, and maybe a third wave. Could come lower. I mean, this could be the bottom. This could be a measured bounce, but it, not sure at this point. Now, if we do get below these lows right here, we could go lower low and extend down to 250. Highly cautious at this point. Now, if we do get up above this consolidation right here, it's not very clean. That's the problem with not getting any kind of pullbacks or consolidations on the way down. It's going to take a break above 1880 to tip the scales to going up to 2180, possibly 2480, maybe just 2150, 2450. But it's going to have to get above that where it consolidated right there. So, you know, these little consolidations didn't really, I mean, add a little supply zone, but I need a bigger move than what it did. And it did have a little blip in there, but it went so fast and it didn't really provide any clear point right there. So if we are to bounce off, it's not even hardly big enough move up to really come back to the roadmap line, but we could get a little echo and make some progress. But those resistance zones are important to clear. So, Roku is looking more bullish. 70% likely to get the extension up to 110 at this point. Probably do that. Get a little retrace. Do that. Or we could just, you know, the other pattern is when it comes up here, hangs out right in this vicinity, and then pops. And the third option, door number 3, is that we don't hold support there and we go deeper right back down in this area. Like 70% likely we're going to get up in this zone. Do have that resistance right there, though. That is a cautionary point that we need to clear that we haven't really cleared. That's the problem when we spike that high on the way down. So, all right, that's what I see. All right. If you want to chat on the stream, like all these fine folks, make a request. Make sure you hit the green button that's on the other side over there. All the way in the other bottom corner. Hit the green button, be a subscriber. You can chat on the live stream, make a request while I'm live. If I'm no longer live, you can leave me a comment down below or come visit me in Discord tomorrow or hit the bell with the notifications. And when I go live in the morning, you can come talk to me. Moving on. Remember, Hannah, 1 request per person per go. Let somebody else go, and then you can go again. So STLD, and that it looks very uninteresting until we're above that kind of gappy action over there. Kind of sitting right on the resistance here. Then we got the gaps. And we really need to see that pop up above 120 to get the ball rolling for 150. Otherwise, we could just bounce off this area and go down for a lower low. And then PBR. Hats blue ribbon. No, Petrobras. No, Petroleo Brasilio. Well, that must have done a split or something because everything's decoupled. In no man's land. 17 on the upside and roadmap line on the downside. There's your target. Next target up, right in there. Climb the fib ladder. But the higher we've gone, the more likely it is we come back right down here to the roadmap line area. And really that thing's climbing, so it's more like that. I usually do something like this. My nose keeps itching. Nose itching. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Curious what's to come regarding NVIDIA. I kind of talked about that on the start. If you missed the start, pull it back, rewind. We were covering NVIDIA on a 1 second chart. And as I talked about this morning on the morning show, kind of given more probability of a pullback than I am for a continuation higher. Golly. Feels like a piece of fuzz is hanging out my nose, like just tickling the end of my nose. Anyway, so far the reaction is down 1%. The options prices were pricing a 6% move, so we're not getting that. Just, rip the people, right? Now, we may see this actually kick off a bigger pullback tomorrow, and I was speculating that we may come back and retest that downtrend of highs. It was high, lower high, lower high, stopped for a day, and popped on up. May come back, retest it, and go higher. May not. Could just go higher. Right now, we're getting a little pullback. They did report they were softer on China, which this morning I was saying that Biden was banning, Biden's administration banning just regular gaming GPUs from going to China. So don't look good to be able to sell GPUs to China. And Melly. Cover the same stuff over and over. Target 1507, which we almost touched today. 15. Well, I'd probably say 1500. I bet we touched that today. Let's do this. Thank you for telling me that you changed the thing that I knew changed. The high, 1503. So that basically touched the 1272, and a retrace back to the 100 for the breakout points, and then an extension out to 1580 potentially. We could just go sideways and then get enough energy to pop it, or we could come down to here and get enough energy to pop it. That's the most likely pass. Now, there is a slight possibility we just keep on trucking. It's like only 40% likely, but it can happen. Happens often enough. And then Meta, nothing really changed on Meta. Still expecting 343. Almost got there. Then pull back and 361. We do have that prior high resistance right there. Those highs sitting there at 353 area. A little bit of resistance right there to going higher. Hey, Alan. Whoa, that skipped all the way down the bottom. And where did that go? There we go. There's where I was. And we covered Ferrari, covered AMD, covered, let's see, use uranium, please. Which one? Which uranium? I don't uranium doesn't have futures, so we have like URA. And I am bigger term bullish for 35, possibly 40. And UCO. UCO doesn't stand alone, just so you know. The oil chart, much better chart to watch since this is leveraged. Leveraged stuff does not always follow patterns. So be careful. Anything I say may not work out here. We do have a large gap down that's resistance right there. Gap down right there. That we haven't been able to break into it so far. So that's resistance. Conservative entry above 34. I did get in super aggressive at 32, and I got in even more down here at 28. And conservative entries above 34.50, looking for 37, possibly 39, possibly 42, possibly bigger up at 44 or 48, or even 54. But let's not get too overexcited here. That's a lot of fib lines we got to work our way up through. So super aggressive is still in this vicinity, and filling the gap would make it much better. You know, I did the super aggressive now, not the aggressive above 32. So above, filling the gap above 32 is the aggressive entry. Super aggressive was right here at 30 and then again at 28. Get my story straight. All right. The junk food stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of like, it's not, I don't think it's causation. I think it's just, it makes a good story, that everybody says that that's the way it is, but it makes a good story. But, I think it's just coincidence because we can see McDonald's go higher. We can see Yum go higher. In fact, we're seeing it go higher, even though Lilly and NVO are still up near the highs. They're not really pulling back at all. In fact, NVO, that's a lower high. But we're not seeing that on like McDonald's, PepsiCo, or PEP. And PepsiCo's still hanging out down near the lows. KO still hanging out, under the roadmap line. Head and shoulders rejection right down. Didn't do the break above. Didn't do the bullish thing. Yum. Pizza's the number one thing that people say they cut back on eating when they start the GLP-1 drugs. It's one of the cheapest fast foods per volume of calories. DPZ, also kind of like a similar hurt. PZZA, Papa John's. Yeah, that one's definitely in a world of hurt. So, yeah, seeing, it's not necessarily, I mean, even, is this the GLP-1 drugs, or is it consumers, or is it just a happy, perfect storm of all the things? A lot of these haven't really ever gotten back to full tilt where they were back here before COVID. Even though Wendy's has made some higher highs, they haven't really, heck, my Taco Bell still doesn't hardly stay open late, even though that's like their logo. They're like, open late, right? You can trash all you want about the quality of food and if it even qualifies as food, but they just can't get people to work. Even like something changed, so we'll have to see what happens. Binance, I don't know about an indictment. The SEC handed down like a $4 billion settlement bill. It's NVDA, and I don't think it matters to anything. So, we've talked about NVIDIA, and it's just, still likely to go lower instead of higher. BYON. Beyond Incorporated. Makes me think of that show Upload on Amazon. Well, that's a dumpster fire. Don't mess with this. That can just drop. Look at that. I mean, that's a horrible chart. Why do you want to buy this? What says that's a banging opportunity right there? That looks pretty horrible. I would not put my money on this right now. I mean, look, losing tons of money on declining. I mean, why do you want to mess with that? There's so much better stuff. EQT. Now, look, I mean, look at that chart. That's at least going the right way. Holding the roadmap line. Let's just clear all the drawings. Highest high, lowest low for the recent move. Need to move up through 43 to get 46, possibly 48. And if we break down below 38, we're doing something more bearish. The support would be down here around 34. All right. Hey, no problem, Dex. Google. Wrongemer asked for Google. And we're highly likely to get these extensions. 148, 155, possibly launching on out. We got to work through that. And we had that big gap down. That's going to be resistance. Once we get above that, though, 148, 155, possibly up here to this target way up here, 172, 170, 170, 175, you know, that area right up there. All right. AI, stuck on the roadmap line, not doing the bullish thing at the moment. Like, that was a 3-wave up. It's hard to call it a 5-wave up. So that could just be a correction. This could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 could take us to a lower low. And on this chart, that's negative at the moment. That would be kind of funny. Let's see. Let's put this in the log scale. Let's see where 5 goes at this point. Man. 0. Way on off the charts. So be careful. This can drop down and make a lower low. Hard to call that bullish. That was not what I would call a bullish move. So highly cautious. Now, if we do break out above this prior high thing right here, we can go in extension. That extension could be up here. Crazy high. Less crazy, still crazy high. Yeah. I don't know. XSP is just SPX. I already covered SPX. So that was ES. When I covered ES1 exclamation point, that's SPX, just divide by 10. And SPX over here, just divide by 10. That's XSP. We're not going to go through the whole thing again. And Amazon. Still maintain the target. 153, possibly 160. Little consolidation at the breakout. Did get a higher high. Consolidate. Next target 150. Then consolidate some more. And next target 160. Could it go deep? I mean, could it break down? Sure, it could break down here, but it's like 70% likely after doing this to do this. At least to 153. Or 150. Let's call it 150. Be conservative on the target. 150. Wing stop has been a pretty rocking trade. Look at that. Target right up here, 242. Beautiful. And that's what we expect. Breaks above that 618. Rock it up. Target 242. Above that 267-ish. I mean, let's call it 240 and 265. All right. Be conservative on the targets. Get out before it reverses on you hard. All right. USD JPY. Yeah. That one took a turn, right? Probably coming back down to the roadmap line. Right there around 146. Right there. Easy peasy. We did the extension right over here. Right up to the 1618. Tried to go for the next one. Couldn't do it. Come back to the roadmap line. Now, it may do a little retrace thing before it gets there, but likely to come back to the roadmap line. And FXY just to reinforce. Upside down, same situation. Back to the roadmap line. Apple. 70% likely we're going to get this extension to 206, possibly 217. And that's kind of like, that lines up with the bigger fib pattern from back here. The extension. Right there. That 216 area, 216, 217. Possibly 220. Right in that zone. Right in the zone. And lows. Supposedly announced some crap earnings. Or like crap outlook, but not too bad. Just a little drop, not the epic drop that Wall Street Jones would have you believe. And or Wall Street Journal, I mean. Resistance that rallied right up to the roadmap line, held, pulling back. We could see a drop back down into this 175, possibly 167 area. And the bigger correction could take it on down into this lower area. And I keep moving fibs around instead of... Stop. Stop. Now we could pull back to that 618, and then this could be the reversal. I speculated that at some point in the recent few days, because I have this drawn on here, that we might pull back off that roadmap line, hold support here, and then go higher, and that would be right up in this zone, right up there. Otherwise, if we break down below this, probably coming down here. So that's a key support zone right there. Key support. BZ, Verizon. Nice pop. But right into resistance. That's the lowest low. That's just one move up so far. We don't have any retrace. I would expect this to kind of test this zone, then retrace back over into the roadmap line at some point over here. That would be my expectation. Of course, it doesn't have to do that, but that looks like what it might do. There you go. Microsoft. Thoughts on Microsoft are that it's almost to the target. Keeps teasing me. I have my target at 380, and it has not hit it yet. Look, put an alert right there. I've had the alert right at 380. Had the box. Just keeps flirting with me. A couple bucks shy. I do think we're going to hit 380. Then possibly pull back and then go for 400. Can it do an epic failure here? Sure. Sure. Why not? but that would be the standard pattern. Hit that 380, possibly 382, then pull back. You know, my target's 380 because if it just pops right on up to 382, a lot of times we get a fast negative reaction. Prime example of that, look right here. See, we hit the 169.50, and then we gap down. So now we've got a giant gap on Walmart that we're going to have to work our way back up through to go higher. So we don't always just hold the 100% and then go higher. Sometimes we gap way down off the 1272. All right. So caution on Microsoft. Do I think it's going to just gap down to 320? Probably not, but it wouldn't surprise me to see some sort of negative reaction once we pop that 382. Now, it could just be building up some steam and just pop right on up to 400. It could do that too. I mean, we've seen some massive swing ups in the not so distant future. So, I mean, past, not so distant past. Get my past and future mixed up. EXPE, Expedia. Stop for 2 days at the 1272 and then reaching right on up 141 next up target, upside target, but got caught up in that prior high. Those prior highs on the way down are important. That's why I highlight them. When we stopped dropping for whatever reason, then it came up and then found more selling and then dropped. That's when we get back up to that zone, that's where we find more selling. It's for whatever reason, it's some sort of psychological level. And that's where we're sitting at on EXP. Once we can get above that, probably run on up to 141 if we can reach up past it. And then maybe get another retrace. This has been straight up off these lows. Just a few days. I mean, golly, wasn't even that long ago. We were down there just like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 16 days ago, 12 bars ago. It could definitely get a retrace back down, at least to the breakout, if not back to the roadmap line. So the roadmap line hadn't even flinched yet, hardly. So that's got a large downside risk compared to the potential upside. So we're talking like $6 on the upside and like $30 down to the support. Be careful. Be careful. And PHM. Oh, beautiful. Upside target 90 point. Yeah, 90 and 96. Yeah. Sometimes, when I predict these pullbacks to the roadmap line, sometimes it takes a little while. We eventually get there, and then we can go on the extension. UVXY is a decaying asset and also leverage UVXY. There's not anything I'm going to predict on this, and it's a dumpster fire going to zero. What do you want to know? Just a matter of time. Like once it drops below 10, it's just a matter of time for the reverse split it again. And the last reverse split was only in June. So watch out. That one's going to reverse split. And as it drops on down, it becomes less and less responsive to less responsive in price. So no bueno on UVXY. Yeah, it is leveraged. There's not much I can do on that one. All right. I seem to be quite a bit behind here. Trying to figure out where I was. XP. Sometimes I hit the roller and it jumps all the way to the bottom of the chat. I have to roll back up. XP did a retrace back to the roadmap line and wow, that was a while ago. Haven't looked at this one in a while. Resistance. Oh, I hate it when it does that. It's kind of like triple tops. So that means there's significant resistance to break through that prior high. It's going to take a bit to get to 29 or 31. And this may be an intermediate retrace before it goes even lower. Swing might be down to 16. So we have support down here. Now, why didn't I just run the fib off the low to the high? Look, it's the same freaking place. So it wouldn't surprise me if we did that. Why did I draw it that way? You might be saying. Look, it's an ABC corrective. A, B, C, right there. 100%. Could extend to 14, but that's also the 618 at 1650 and the 786 at 1367. So it all corresponds to this area right here being a support zone. Could it break up to the upper levels? Yeah, but we've got the significant resistance here. That's like a triple top. And 29 and 31 would be the upside. So $7 upside versus, I don't know, $7 to $8 downside. So it's kind of a coin flip right in the middle. All right. How do I get my probabilities? From doing this 9 godzillion times. And we did Microsoft. Yay. It's coming up into the resistance zone. Right there. If we can break through, 70% likely to get up to 1272 without a significant retrace. Significant retrace means hitting the roadmap line. And once we clear that zone, and actually it's a little bit higher because this right here, it's got to get above that. A little consolidation where we flash down and flashed up, flash down again. I drew this potential on here probably back in October. We came right up to it. If it turns down again, watch out for that. If we can break above 262. Did URA, GNE, GNE, G electric. Look at that, 3618. You know, sometimes they just do this. Like, look, it didn't slow down at the 1272. Oh, it lost momentum, came back, retested the 1618, popped right on up through 2618. Didn't even slow down at the 272, and right up to, and it's done a move that's only like, gosh, so it's like 70% likely down to like 40%, then like 30, 20, 10, starting to be 5. Only 5% of stuff will get all the way up to 4236, and then like 1% of moves will make it all the way to the 686 without retracing back to the roadmap line. Maybe even less than 1. So very rare you just see it pop all the way up there. So that's likely to get a significant retrace, which would be back in this zone right around here. And there's the market back open. How many people got an alarm for when the futures market opens? All right. DHI. I would watch out for a retrace on GNE. DHI looking like it might get the extension here. 139. And MSTR. Slow down because Bitcoin churning a little bit today. Just normal consolidation. We popped the 1272. We retraced to the 100. The next expectation would be a move up to that 1618. And there was a 1272. There's the 1618 right there. Around that 580. I put it back in log mode and it pops up to 616. Usually when stuff moves more than $50, I put it in log mode. When it's less than $50, I take it out of log mode. So somewhere between 580 and 616. There's the We scratched the bottom of the target, so this may fail and come down here. The 1272 is the all we needed, and that happened. So there's one that once it broke above the 618, 70% likely it went and tagged it. Now consolidating. The fact that it is consolidating above the breakout point makes me believe that there's greater than 50% chance we're going to see this before we see this. Both are possible. All right, BLDR. Clear that drawings. Build our first source. Consulting under the 618. And it has this resistance to clear right here. And SQQQ. There's not much to look at. I mean, it's going lower. It's would be likely to make a lower low. 14. SQQ and TQQQ are both leveraged, so be careful. But there's TQQQ on the upside, leverage, and SQQQ ultra short and is decaying. This is a decaying asset. Eventually, they'll do a reverse split, and it'll continue the decay. So leveraged also, be careful. Path, PATH. Just chopping in the path. That is a sideways path. Continued sideways. RDWA, BKKT. I have to zoom this up a little bit to see what I've been drawing. I speculated that we could see a 618 retrace. We didn't really do that. We just kind of briefly retraced the roadmap line, softened up a little higher today, closed at one. Looks like closed at 163, maybe. No, that was just the high. Post 160. It says 163 at the close, even though it doesn't show that. Interesting. Oh, 171. Yeah. There we go. The real numbers. 171 the high. Yeah, I think we could see this. There's the potential that we could get much higher. It would be better if we do the retrace because that makes it likely we pop. Otherwise, we could just do some exponential crap that takes us up to this prior zone of support resistance consolidation until we get a retrace, which there's not really one in there. This is resistance. This is resistance. And that's resistance. This is like a play with gasoline, get out the matches, get out some lighters, maybe play with nitroglycerin, try to juggle that while you're playing with all this. That's that kind of thing right there. I mean, we're up off to 65 cents right there. Yeah, low right there. 68 cents, 64 cents. Wherever it went there. 64 right there, 64.50. The low. Yeah, this is like playing with matches, so be careful. Spot. Did I buy 1,000 shares? Yeah, I bought 1,000 shares of BKKT because, hey, why not? If it goes back up to 5, I just took my $1,000, maybe $5,000. Spot looks like it's about to break out. The target, that 70% likely target, 195. Maybe you should go a little conservative, 193 maybe. But I've had that target on there for a long time, and we might finally get it. And this was a fake out. We did retrace back to the roadmap line. Now we're on the second attempt. Let's get it. Push it up there. I got a long position I want to close. I just have calls. Straight calls. So they're up like 80% maybe. I'd love to see that pop to 195. No one said Tesla yet. Yeah, it's amazing. Sitting right on the roadmap line, right in the consolidation. You know, there's the gap fill. I always say that gap fills are resistance. Look at that. Hard to argue that that was not resistance. You know, found support at the roadmap line, resistance at the gap fill. Have not been able to break out of that for, you know, we gapped up into it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Nothing but sideways consolidation. And we have the downtrend thing that's drawn on here very sloppily. We may see this drop down here, but it could break out. In fact, if we break out above, well, it's really going to take a move up through probably 260, 270 for me to be very bullish on this. It's a, you know, fair bit up, but yeah, probably going to take a move up through that prior high. Still got resistance right above that to tilt the scale to going up to about that 320 to 350 area. Such a long-standing resistance. I know it's and this gap fill, like, it's been pretty important as we were discussing last night. That you pull it back, it's been gappy all the way in this zone. You just keep on pulling it back. Like, you can see how many times we've consolidated in this area. It's a key area. It's a flip point. That's what I call it. We gapped above, and then we found, we hung out here more. We gapped through it, bounced off of it. Kind of sitting in it right now. So, it's a key support resistance flip zone. Yeah, I don't know. GDX, that's a set of lower highs. It's stuck under the roadmap line. Be careful. If we can break above, let's go. Need to move up through 30. We can go higher. Otherwise, nothing to see here. Keep on moving. Potential for that to be like a measured bounce. Yep. Once, you know, but it hadn't done the bullish giddy up and go yet. So we needed to giddy up and go. Even the giddy up and go doesn't take it to a new high. So, all right. BRK.B. Yeah. 70% likely. Get the extension. 383, 398. I sold my position. I bought in and sold out. Had one share, I think. Maybe 2 shares. Made a couple bucks. Got off the train. I actually had a VVD entry right here somewhere. It was VVD and a market roadmap. Cold is leveraged and funky, so don't mess with this. Ultra short. That may go higher as natural gas goes lower. At the 618, 105 would be the upside. That's a reverse split. That's a reverse split. So this one does decay over time. Be careful. It was kind of funny though, because natural gas tends to just go sideways. So you would think in the long term this one would rocket, but maybe. There's a real split. Let's see. Reverse split, real split. Just kind of hums along. All right. Cold WPM. I don't have much to say about cold. It's doesn't really follow patterns because it's leveraged and weird. Just watch natural gas. If you think natural gas is going down, play cold. If you think natural gas is going up, play UNG. And that looks like a roadmap line bounce. Let's clear drawings. 618 resistance that can either break through or it can turn down and go lower. And let's see what the nature of that move up looks like. Potentially 5 waves up, maybe. Let's see what the retrace went to. Potential for this to be bullish. 56.60 on the upside. Not quite a beautiful measured bounce. Could lead to higher targets. Some up here like 70, but I'm not so sure we won't get a retrace before that. Especially since this was a double top area right here. Made a nominal higher high and then retraced. So watch for that resistance. 56 and 60 would be my upside potential right there. And CRW. Didn't I cover CRWD? I swear I did that one already. I swear. Resistance right there. Up through the 1618 makes it likely to see a retrace. Haven't been down there since, haven't been down to the roadmap line since August. It's coming up pretty swiftly here. So we could see a retrace back in this zone. Maybe could take a little while, you know, see how that one did. Could do that same thing right there. Or we do the next extension. KO. I know I popped that up, but it's under the roadmap line, and that's kind of what I expect until it does something more bullish, which it has a resistance right there. And another one, and another one, and the downtrend line, which I don't even know what's going on here. Must be the log scale. No. Let's just clear that. Sometimes this chart gets funky. Haven't moved more than 50 bucks, so let's just leave it on non-log. Oh, I did that. Clicked on the wrong thing there. It's like an extra shoulder. That did the rejection move. Oh, that wasn't very straight. And rejection move right down to the bottom. So move up off the low. Expect some sort of retrace here. Back in this zone at this point. If it does that, then breaks back above here. We could go bullish. It's not really a trend, so look at the bigger picture here. I would kind of just expect more of that sideways in this range. Just logged in. I did not do forward. There you go. Forward is down to the 1272. Pop up. And extension down to $8 would be the expectation. I don't know how it moves all these lines. Nothing's where it should be. Man. Makes me look like I don't know what I'm talking about, but he said try to break out and go, and then failed, broke down below. And it could go as low as down here. I should just clear target. I should remove all the drawings at this point. These drawings all look funky. So we've got this uptrend of lows that it just broke below. Got this downtrend of highs. the high, that was the high, that was the high, that was the high. Broke above, bounced off, broke below. Probably gonna flush. And the actual target, lowest low, highest high, 77. That would be the expectation. Alrighty. DAL. Could be bullish, but looks more like just more of this. LTHM. Well, that looks like a dumpster fire. 11. Didn't even retrace up to the 100. Just chugging on down, chugging on down, chugging on down. 11 or 12. It's a dumpster fire. Be careful on that one. RTX. Raton. Rejection at the roadmap line. Extension lower. 64. And thoughts on MQ? Just a junk $6 stock. And I don't even look at it. MQ. Well, loses money. Doesn't make a ton of money. Loses money, loses money, loses money. Loses more money, keeps losing money. Wow. Loses a bunch of money. And price to sales ratio of 4 is growing revenue and also growing the losses at the same time. It's kind of like the, hey, what we make up for in losses, we're going to do it in volume. Wait a minute, that didn't work. So if we do more volume, now there is potential here that this completes a fifth wave up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and for that to be completely valid, probably have to get a higher, any nominal higher high here could satisfy this. So 7 would probably be my upside resistance. And then if we made any kind of higher high, let's pretend like it gets to 708, right back down to this point right here would be where I would expect it to go. Right back down there. And that would be a measured bounce and a 1-2 setup. And we could potentially see a move up into this $9 to $10 area. And this fits with the IPOs are bearish. That's 90% of IPO, maybe even 99% of IPOs start out in a bearish pattern that ends up in a lower low. That's not all. There's still the occasional IPO that will be bullish, but the vast majority of IPOs will end up at a lower low than where they IPO. Prime example, recent IPO. We end up lower than where we started. And this is likely to be corrective gobbledygook and go lower from here too. Likely not done on the downside for ARM. All right. Right. Trying to push above the roadmap line. Still lower high. Still in this consolidation zone. Until we're back above 1250, 1260. Not much to to worry about. Like support is at these lows. If we break below those lows, watch out. We can go down significantly. Resistance is at those highs. And otherwise, that for Mora, that for Riot, that for BTBT, that for Hive, that for Hut actually looks bearish. There you go. It covers them all in one fell swoop. Para. Resistance right there. And may go lower. And SYM. Right into the resistance. If we can break above, makes it 73.84 on the upside. If that's one gap up, so now it's got support right there. It may retrace again. It's just been chopping in the zone, but that is a 3 higher highs in a row so far. Makes it an uptrend. 73 kind of becoming likely. Now, I drew that box because it topped there, it spiked up and dropped, and now we're right back there. If we can break above that, 73.84 on the upside. Netflix is, I'm long Netflix, 1 share. I think I had 5 shares, but I got into a cash crunch in my account. I had to liquidate 3 or 4 shares, so now I'm down to 1 share, and my target is 500. I have an order for 500. I bought at 400 when I said I was going to buy. I think my fill was 401, and I'm going to sell at 500. That was 25% gain on shares. 70% likely. I mean, that's the same pattern over and over. There you go. ETR. I can't even run anything there. Oh my gosh, that's could be a 5 up, but if it is, then that's nearing the top, and we could get a retrace into this $92 area. Significant resistance all over the place right here, just above us. Would not surprise me to make one more spike up, retrace back into this 90 to 94 area, then be able to break above. But I mean, it's just been sideways. Like, it's not a trending stock. It's just a sideways garbly goop. Where's the opportunity? I mean, it pays a little dividend, but 4.5%. If you just want to hold it, I mean, there's better ways to make 4.5%. All right. Uber, UBRR. I don't know. New creative tickers. Looks like it's up to the target. 55. I would protect profits. It is highly likely to pull back at this point. Could we see an extension? Sure. 61, 64, 73, 79, even all the way up to 104. But highly likely to see a retrace, at least back to the roadmap line, or an echo of this pullback, because we did this a couple of times now. Yeah, right there. Same size, likely to get the same size. Now, how big was this move? Look at this magic. We could see a move up into this area before we get that pullback. So we could make it up to the 2618 area before we do the pullback, but be careful out there. This one was not nearly that big, but the similar size pullback. So, and this extension, a little bit close, but not close, but not. So probably based on the past 2 runs, probably top out somewhere in that $60 to $68 area before we get a pullback back into the $50 area. PNC. It looks like garbage. It's garbage chart. Be careful. That's just sideways consolidation at the bottom. Nothing says that, that's lower high. Nothing says it's not going low. Be careful. Lucid, LCID. Oh, look at that, baby. Dumpster fire. Hadn't been up to the roadmap line since back here in January. How low does she go? 0 as far as she could go. $3 will be the expectation. Dumpster fire. Be careful. AI. Finally getting their crap back together. 68, possibly 75 on the upside. DDOG. Make it 128, possibly 141. But we do have resistance right there. Kind of double topped. With a lower high. Be careful on that one. There's no guarantee it'll pop through and get to the higher targets. And BMO. Yeah, I've been going an hour and a half now. I'm gonna have to go do something else. That looks like a big downtrend to me. Be careful in the channel. Flirts of breaking out, but keeps on chugging down the channel. Anyway, all right. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'll be live tomorrow morning, not Thursday morning. Spending time with family, and then Friday morning I'll be back live again. So I'll see you then. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the button over there on the other side, other corner, and hit the bell with the notifications. Tell a friend, phone a friend. If I said anything today that you liked, didn't like, whatever, give me a thumbs up or down, or react with the video. Give me a heart, whatever. Appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow.